Being one of the first philosophers to ever profoundly question the value of existence, systematically combine Eastern and Western modes of thinking, and introduce the arts as a serious philosophical focus, Arthur Schopenhauer occupies a unique and influential place in the history of philosophy. Often regarded as one of the darkest yet most comprehensive philosophers of the Western tradition, Schopenhauer's life and work reveal a relentless pursuit of understanding the nature of reality, suffering, and the human condition. Born in 1788 in what is now Gdansk, Poland, Schopenhauer spent most of his early years in Hamburg, Germany, after his family moved there when he was 5. His upbringing in a wealthy household, with his father being a highly successful international merchant, seemed to predestine him for a career in business. However, from a young age, Schopenhauer's interests diverged sharply from the expectations placed upon him. While his father hoped he would inherit the family business, Schopenhauer felt a profound pull towards academics, philosophy, and the intellectual exploration of the human condition. As part of his preparation for a career in international trade, Schopenhauer's parents took him on a tour of Europe, a journey intended to cultivate the skills and worldview necessary for success in commerce. Yet, the exposure to the pervasive suffering, poverty, and inequality he witnessed across the continent had the opposite effect. It deepened his curiosity about the nature of life and suffering, and drove him further away from the world of business. This transformative experience planted the seeds of his lifelong quest to unravel the mysteries of existence and understand why the world seemed to operate in such a negative, often brutal manner. Witnessing firsthand the misery and challenges of life in different cultures gave him a sense of the universality of human suffering, a theme that would become central to his philosophy. Defying his family's wishes, Schopenhauer enrolled at the University of Göttingen in 1809 to study philosophy and the humanities. Initially, he began his academic career studying medicine, but he soon realized that his true passion lay in exploring the deeper questions of existence, a passion that led him to philosophy. His intellectual journey took a decisive turn during his third semester when he began to delve deeply into the works of great thinkers, particularly Immanuel Kant. Kant's philosophy, especially his ideas on transcendental idealism, profoundly influenced Schopenhauer's thinking and laid the groundwork for his later theories. Seeking a more rigorous academic environment, Schopenhauer transferred to the University of Berlin in 1811, where he studied under renowned philosophers of the time, including Johann Gottlieb Fichte and Friedrich Schleiermacher. However, Schopenhauer soon became disillusioned with academic philosophy. To him, much of it seemed unnecessarily obscure, detached from the pressing realities of life, and often compromised by theological agendas that he found repugnant. He criticized the academic circles of his time for prioritizing intellectual exercises over addressing the fundamental problems of human existence. This disillusionment prompted him to leave the academic sphere and dedicate himself to independent study and writing. Schopenhauer believed that philosophy should be deeply connected to the lived experience of individuals, addressing the pain and suffering inherent in the human condition rather than abstract speculations detached from reality. By the age of 30, Schopenhauer had laid the foundations of a philosophical system that would eventually reshape Western thought. His dissertation, On the Fourfold Root of the Principle of Sufficient Reason, 1813, established the epistemological groundwork of his philosophy, exploring how we come to understand causality and the interconnectedness of phenomena. This work demonstrated his ability to synthesize complex ideas into a cohesive framework. However, it was his magnum opus, The World as Will and Representation, 1819, that offered a comprehensive framework encompassing metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, aesthetics, and more. In this ambitious work, Schopenhauer presented a dual-aspect theory of reality, the world as representation, shaped by our perceptions and cognitive structures, and the world as will, an underlying blind and irrational force driving all existence. Schopenhauer's exploration of the will brought new perspectives to questions about human motivation, suffering, and existence. He argued that the will is the driving force behind all life forms, manifesting as an unending cycle of desire and striving. This unrelenting force creates an existence characterized by dissatisfaction, as achieving one desire only gives rise to another. For Schopenhauer, this endless striving is the root of human suffering, and he believed it was crucial to confront this reality head-on. His bleak assessment of life as fundamentally painful and devoid of inherent purpose set him apart from his contemporaries, many of whom held more optimistic views about human progress and reason. Despite the groundbreaking nature of his work, Schopenhauer's ideas initially failed to gain traction. He faced significant challenges in gaining recognition, as his works were overshadowed by the prevailing influence of Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, whose philosophy dominated the intellectual landscape of the time. Schopenhauer's disdain for Hegel's complex and abstract style was well documented, and he openly criticized what he saw as the pretentiousness of Hegelian philosophy. This rivalry further marginalized Schopenhauer within academic circles, leading him to focus on independent study and writing, instead of seeking validation from the academic establishment. His commitment to exploring the darker aspects of human existence and his rejection of idealistic portrayals of reality eventually began to resonate with a wider audience. By his 50s, Schopenhauer's works started gaining recognition, particularly after the publication of his essays and aphorisms in Parerga and Paralipomena, 1851. This collection showcased his ability to communicate profound philosophical insights in an accessible and engaging manner, appealing to both scholars and the general public. Through these writings, Schopenhauer articulated his thoughts on ethics, aesthetics, and the human condition, cementing his reputation as one of the most original and thought-provoking thinkers of his time. The centrality of suffering in Schopenhauer's philosophy reflects his deep engagement with Eastern traditions, particularly Buddhism and Hinduism. He was one of the first Western philosophers to incorporate elements of these traditions into his work, drawing parallels between his concept of the will and ideas, such as the Buddhist notion of dukkha, suffering, and the Hindu concept of maya, illusion. This synthesis of Eastern and Western thought allowed Schopenhauer to offer a unique perspective on the nature of reality and the human experience, bridging cultural and philosophical divides in a way that few thinkers had attempted before. Through his emphasis on the will as the fundamental force of existence, Schopenhauer provided a framework for understanding the persistence of human suffering and the challenges of finding meaning in life. His work paved the way for later philosophical movements, including existentialism and psychoanalysis, influencing figures such as Friedrich Nietzsche, Sigmund Freud, and Albert Camus. Today, Schopenhauer's ideas continue to inspire and challenge readers, offering profound insights into the complexities of human existence and the search for meaning in a world often marked by suffering and uncertainty. As Schopenhauer's ideas matured, they delved deeper into the implications of human suffering and the relentless striving he identified as intrinsic to life. For Schopenhauer, this unyielding force he termed the will was not merely a metaphysical construct, but a tangible explanation for the everyday struggles of existence. It explained why individuals are trapped in cycles of desire, chasing goals that, once achieved, lead only to new forms of longing. This eternal dissatisfaction, in Schopenhauer's view, was the engine of life itself. However, recognizing this truth also posed an existential challenge. How does one live in a world dominated by suffering and endless striving? Schopenhauer proposed two primary pathways to alleviate the burden of existence. The first was through the experience of art and aesthetic contemplation. He argued that great art has the power to temporarily suspend the tyranny of the will, allowing individuals to perceive the world in a pure, detached state. For instance, when engaging with a work of art, such as a painting, a musical composition, or a literary masterpiece, the individual escapes their immediate desires and gains a transcendent perspective on existence. In these moments, art provides a refuge, a glimpse of liberation from the ceaseless demands of the will. The second pathway Schopenhauer advocated was asceticism, a lifestyle marked by self-denial and the renunciation of material and sensual pleasures. Drawing inspiration from Eastern philosophies, particularly Buddhism and Hinduism, he believed that by rejecting the will's influence, individuals could achieve a state of inner peace and detachment. Ascetics, in his view, represented the pinnacle of human capability, having managed to suppress their desires and transcend the suffering inherent to life. However, Schopenhauer acknowledged that such a path was not accessible or practical for the majority of people, who lacked the discipline and conviction required to undertake such a radical transformation. Schopenhauer's engagement with the arts extended beyond their role as a temporary escape. He analyzed the aesthetic experience in meticulous detail, identifying it as one of the few moments where individuals could access a higher form of understanding. Music, in particular, held a special place in his philosophy. Unlike other forms of art that represent aspects of the world, Schopenhauer considered music to be a direct manifestation of the will itself. This unique quality allowed music to resonate with individuals on a profound emotional level, bridging the gap between the metaphysical and the experiential. To Schopenhauer, music was not merely entertainment, but a powerful tool for introspection and emotional catharsis. Through these pathways, Schopenhauer provided a framework for coping with the harsh realities of existence, yet his philosophy was not devoid of contradictions. While he advocated for detachment and renunciation, he himself led a life of relative comfort and continued to seek recognition for his work. This paradox reflects the complexity of Schopenhauer's thought and his struggle to reconcile the ideals of his philosophy with the practicalities of human existence. As his works began to gain traction later in life, Schopenhauer's ideas resonated with a wide array of thinkers and artists. Writers like Leo Tolstoy and Thomas Hardy found inspiration in his exploration of human suffering and the search for meaning. Composers such as Richard Wagner were deeply influenced by Schopenhauer's insights into the nature of music and its connection to the will. Even in psychology, figures like Sigmund Freud drew upon Schopenhauer's concepts to develop theories about the unconscious mind and human motivation. Schopenhauer's late recognition marked a turning point in his career, validating his lifelong pursuit of philosophical truth. Despite the initial rejection and obscurity, his unwavering commitment to his ideas ensured their survival and eventual influence on Western thought. His work remains a testament to the enduring power of philosophy to confront the fundamental questions of existence, offering both solace and challenge to those willing to engage with its depths. Schopenhauer's engagement with Eastern thought, particularly his admiration for Buddhism, introduced new dimensions to his philosophical system. Drawing parallels between his concept of the will and the Buddhist understanding of dukkha, or suffering, Schopenhauer argued that life's inherent dissatisfaction is universal and unavoidable. This alignment with Eastern philosophies led him to explore solutions that mirrored Buddhist practices, particularly the renunciation of desires as a pathway to inner peace. However, Schopenhauer's application of these ideas was distinctively Western, rooted in his metaphysical framework of the will. Unless suffering is the direct and immediate object of life, our existence must entirely fail of its aim. It is absurd to look upon the enormous amount of pain that abounds everywhere in the world and originates in needs and necessities inseparable from life itself as serving no purpose at all, and the result of mere chance. Each separate misfortune as it comes seems no doubt to be something exceptional, but misfortune in general is the rule, Schopenhauer wrote. One of Schopenhauer's most compelling contributions was his interpretation of asceticism as a form of resistance against the will. Unlike other Western thinkers who often viewed ascetic practices with skepticism, Schopenhauer saw them as a legitimate means of liberation. He believed that by denying the will its usual outlets, such as the pursuit of pleasure, ambition, and material gain, an individual could achieve a state of detachment from life's suffering. Ascetics, in his view, represented an ideal of human existence, having mastered the art of living beyond the dictates of the will. This perspective, however, was not without its challenges, as Schopenhauer himself recognized the difficulty of fully committing to such a lifestyle. Human life must be some kind of mistake. The truth of this will be sufficiently obvious if we only remember that man is a compound of needs and necessities hard to satisfy, and that even when they are satisfied, all he obtains is a state of painlessness, where nothing remains to him but abandonment to boredom, Schopenhauer wrote. In addition to asceticism, Schopenhauer championed the role of art as a powerful tool for transcending the will. He argued that aesthetic experiences, such as observing a beautiful landscape or immersing oneself in music, provide a temporary escape from the incessant demands of desire. In these moments, individuals can experience the world in a pure, unmediated way, free from the distortions of the will. This idea was revolutionary in its time, elevating the status of art from mere decoration to a profound source of philosophical insight. Music, in particular, held a special place in Schopenhauer's philosophy, as he regarded it as the most direct expression of the will, a universal language that speaks to the essence of existence. Schopenhauer's emphasis on the aesthetic experience resonated deeply with artists and intellectuals of his era. Composers such as Richard Wagner found inspiration in Schopenhauer's ideas, incorporating themes of suffering and redemption into their works. Writers like Marcel Proust and Thomas Mann also drew upon Schopenhauer's insights into the nature of desire and the human condition, weaving his philosophy into their narratives. This cross-pollination between philosophy and the arts not only expanded Schopenhauer's influence, but also enriched the cultural landscape of the 19th and early 20th centuries. Despite the growing recognition of his ideas, Schopenhauer remained a polarizing figure in academic and intellectual circles. His scathing critiques of contemporaries like Hegel alienated many, while his unrelenting pessimism earned him both admiration and disdain. Yet it was precisely this commitment to confronting the darker aspects of existence that set Schopenhauer apart. He refused to shy away from life's inherent suffering, choosing instead to explore it with unflinching honesty. This approach, while bleak, offered a sense of validation to those who shared his view of the world, providing a philosophical framework for grappling with life's challenges. Schopenhauer's legacy is a testament to the enduring power of philosophy to address the deepest questions of human existence. His integration of Eastern and Western thought, combined with his focus on art and asceticism, created a unique philosophical system that continues to resonate with readers and thinkers today. By acknowledging the universality of suffering and exploring pathways to transcendence, Schopenhauer offered a vision of life that, while stark, is profoundly human. Schopenhauer's influence on both philosophy and art has left an indelible mark on how we understand suffering, desire, and the human condition. As one of the first philosophers to bring Eastern concepts such as detachment and renunciation into the Western intellectual tradition, Schopenhauer bridged cultural divides and introduced a new way of thinking about life's challenges. His idea of the will as an insatiable force driving all existence continues to resonate as a metaphor for modern struggles with consumerism, ambition, and the search for meaning. One of the most striking aspects of Schopenhauer's legacy is his enduring relevance in contemporary thought. His emphasis on the aesthetic experience, particularly the power of music to transcend individual suffering, has inspired countless artists, from composers like Richard Wagner to modern filmmakers who explore existential themes. Schopenhauer's work also laid the groundwork for later philosophical movements such as existentialism and psychoanalysis. Figures like Friedrich Nietzsche, who both admired and critiqued Schopenhauer, built upon his ideas to develop their own frameworks for understanding human motivation and the pursuit of meaning. Schopenhauer's pessimistic outlook may seem daunting, but it offers valuable insights into the human experience. By recognizing the inevitability of suffering, he encourages us to seek solace in art, compassion, and self-awareness. His exploration of the will challenges us to confront our own desires and question whether they lead to genuine fulfillment or simply perpetuate cycles of dissatisfaction. For Schopenhauer, the path to a more meaningful existence lies not in chasing ephemeral pleasures, but in cultivating a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. In many ways, Schopenhauer's philosophy serves as a counterbalance to the relentless optimism of modern society. His work reminds us that it is okay to acknowledge life's difficulties and to find beauty and meaning in the midst of struggle. By embracing the arts, practicing compassion, and exploring philosophical ideas, we can navigate life's challenges with greater clarity and resilience. Schopenhauer's insights continue to inspire those who seek a more profound understanding of existence, offering a framework for grappling with life's complexities and finding moments of transcendence amid the chaos. Thank you for watching and reflecting on these profound ideas with me. If you found this exploration of Schopenhauer's philosophy insightful, please consider liking the video. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people who might benefit from these discussions. And don't forget to share this video with someone who could use a deeper perspective on life's challenges. Let's continue this journey together, seeking wisdom and understanding in the works of great thinkers like Schopenhauer.